And so I was in hospital, I think, for about 24 hours, and it wasn't doing anything. So it wasn't really helping me. It didn't put me into labor. The doctors and the midwives, they asked me to come back the next day for a scan, just obviously to monitor me, even though I would not be admitted that day. But they obviously wanted to monitor me and make sure that, everything was fine. So went home, and then the next day, I think from morning about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I was in hospital practically all day actually anyway. I went for scan, and because I have polycystic ovaries, I'd have to go for a appointment with the consultant after every scan, and they'll just, have a quick look at my notes, and then, just kind of off you go. But this time when we went for the scan in between, the sonographer, she she looked, at me and my partner, and she kind of said to us, you know what, I am concerned that the baby has lost weight. She had said to us that the baby had lost weight, and there was the fluid around him had reduced. So she was concerned, and she basically advised us, even though she isn't a midwife, she said that the baby needed to come out today, like on that day. And so we went to speak with the obstetrician, and she was concerned because at that point I was I think 42 weeks. So she called upstairs and she said, I have this lady. She was with you guys yesterday, but she's obviously come back into hospital for her scan, and I don't want her to go home because
Mhm.
I don't feel, it's the right decision to send her back home. And they said, and she basically thought, since I was up there yesterday anyway, that it would be easy for me to just go back and be admitted and obviously continue with kind of the induction. They
Mhm.
said they didn't have any beds available, so they had refused to take me. She then called triage. They also said, they couldn't really take me, so they somehow refused. And she said, you know what, I'm not going to let you go home just yet. She was then ringing around. I think she called like one of the senior managers and just said, I am really worried about this lady.
Mm.
I don't feel that she should be going home. The scan has shown that, the baby's losing weight, and also that there's a lack of fluid around the baby. So she didn't feel that it was the right decision. And so we was then sent to the triage, just for them to obviously check whether, how the baby is doing, and also if my waters had broken. So we was practically there till I think almost midnight anyway. Saw the doctor, who then said my waters weren't broken. And because the following day I was scheduled to be readmitted anyway, she basically said, go home, have a good night's sleep, because then you'll be back anyway, and then we'll continue with, obviously making sure that the baby will, somehow come. And home after being in hospital for the day, me and my partner, we talked about an elective C-section, because at that point we was also, getting worried that my son had lost weight, and, it was obviously getting to the point that really and truly he needs to now start coming. So we kind of said to ourselves, we're gonna ask for an elective C-section when we get back admitted. And in the meantime, because obviously we was told that the C-section, I wasn't a priority, that it could be either 24 or 48 hours that I would have to wait, and they will kind of, slot me in, or I guess have me on a rota. I don't know how it really works, but we was told that, I wasn't a high priority at that time. And so we said, okay, well, if we're still maybe waiting for 24, 48 hours, then I will continue with the induction, just to see whether that can help me progress things. And so I was told that I had to start again, from the pessary, that we couldn't move to the gel, the second step. So I had to go back and do the pessary, which then again was I think another 24 hours. It didn't really do anything. We then went to the gel. That then put me into some slight contractions and dilated me, I think, only 1 centimeter, so not very much. It seemed like the consultants on the ward or the midwives didn't really feel that there was an urgency, unfortunately, at that time. The lady was with me, one midwife, she was with one of her colleagues, and she was doing, her normal rounds monitoring, and she couldn't find my son's heartbeat. She was, trying a good maybe 5, 10 minutes. And so Claremont, actually, she was on shift that day. Thank God. She was on shift. And so she then took over, and then she then, tried to find his heartbeat, which she did, I think, for like a split second, but I think it was very faint. And, it was basically like in a moment, oh, I've got a heartbeat. And then one of the consultants said, okay, well, everything is fine. The baby's fine. And people started to kind of move away from the bed. But then Clairon still stayed for some reason. And then the heartbeat went. Then she pressed the buzzer again because obviously that then means, they are really worried. When we got downstairs, um, you know, there was a lot of people in the in the room. I don't know who they are, but a lot of people, and you have one person taking off your t-shirt, one person is putting something in your hand, one person was putting in a catheter, and it's all so fast that you can't even process what's happening. Then I had a gentleman at my back, and he said, oh, he's going to put an epidural in my back. And then the same consultant who said upstairs, oh, everyone, it's fine, let's go back to, work. She was downstairs with us. And then I heard someone say, has she signed the form? And she was like, then she came and brought me something, and she made me sign something with my right hand. Meanwhile, I'm actually left-handed, and I actually have no clue what I actually signed. I didn't get a chance to read. I didn't get a chance to understand what it is, but I'm guessing, is she aware of the risks? And, let's make sure that yeah, we've signed something that she's aware of it. So if anything goes wrong, she signed it. So, and thinking back on that, that's terrible because I have no clue. I've never seen the paper, even up until now. And so once he said to me, oh, he's going to put an epidural in my back, um, I was like, okay, what other option do I have? Because I'm here, and and they're asking me questions about, like is it the vitamin K and whatever, if my baby should have that. And I couldn't even make that decision because I was so. She said to me that they can't find my son's heartbeat again, so they have to put me to sleep. And then within seconds, they just put a mask on me and just asked me to just inhale it. And then that was it. I don't know what happened in between there. All I know is that I woke up in the recovery room with an oxygen mask on, and and then I had my son. All of a sudden, then this baby was born, and I don't know how he got here because I wasn't there. I wasn't given a chance to see. I understand that when a baby is at risk, or even the mom, that they have to act fast, and maybe there's not always time to have those detailed conversations, but I feel like there was enough time to talk to me. I was in hospital twice. I was there even for the whole day, but nobody really took their time to explain processes to me. Even afterwards in the recovery room, nobody came to talk to me. When I was on the ward upstairs, nobody came to speak to me. Why it went wrong or anything. I was just left to figure it out. And I just want people to understand,
Yeah.
the pain and the impact, like even 16 months on.
Yeah.
It's really hard to speak about it because you're reminded of it, and it's like you're trying to make sense of it, but you really still can't make sense of it because you always have a missing piece of how your son really got here. For so during my recovery, when I came home, even um, actually before discharge, my partner was told that they had to resuscitate my son. And so the first at least 2 months, I kept thinking that my son had died and they had to bring him back. But what I didn't know was that when I'm under general anesthetic, obviously he will also be impacted by that, and that would slow him down, his responses. And maybe that's why he needed a bit of assistance when he was first born. But if someone came to explain this to me, for 6 to 8 weeks, I was so highly anxious. I was next to his cot checking every night he was breathing. I had quite a very tough recovery. Have still now have really bad backache, and I have carpal tunnel syndrome in both of my hands. And you can see me that I'm wearing my wrist support. I've only a few months ago now started physiotherapy. Um, and also, I'm with the Ocean team for birth trauma therapy. But that took over 1 year for me to fight for myself to get some help. I've been asking for help for 1 year. And it's like, again, I wasn't taken serious. And I feel like as a mom, when you are asking and you know yourself, we all know ourselves the best. So when I reach out to a professional and say, look, I'm struggling with this, or, I'm struggling with the birthing experience of how to accept it and how to, navigate through my emotions in a way that doesn't then affect my whole day. Why am I being told that I'm almost too resilient? Like when I was being assessed by the Ocean team, and I think I told you this anyway, that, they almost wanted to just not offer me support. And I said, I'm not going to accept it. I need support. I need help. Why do you want a parent to suffer when I am open and I'm being vulnerable and I'm asking for help? Like that's what the service is there for. I did like a stabilization group with them for like 6 weeks. They have now decided that actually I need more support on a one-to-one basis. So you are telling me that I was right and pushing and making sure that I get what I need to help me move forward. But it shouldn't have had to be like that. And that again as well took me just back again into just being upset that you just leave someone in their trauma and you don't care. And we know motherhood is challenging and hard as it is. And I'm a new mom, it's my first child. And so to have been through this whirlwind of emotions in myself, my own healing, you know, I've always been worried that, oh, is it going to affect my ability of being a mom? I think I'm a great mom. I'm able to do everything that I need to do for my son, but there's been times where I needed a lot of help, like physical